Hola banditas! Today we're gonna talk about how to take back control of our timing and of our day. Companies around the world spend billions of dollars in order to get ahead of us and to catch our attention, to limit our attention span, and to make us buy stuff and watch the advertisements. In any case, the main thing, the first step to take back control of your day is to follow a schedule. When you have a schedule, you know what you're gonna do next. It's really uncommon for you to get distracted. So let's create one. First, we create an Excel spreadsheet and call it schedule. We press enter and we get to the Excel spreadsheet itself. First, let's select a cell and call it time. Alright? Then let's place some dates of the months. So we will create a schedule for a month. It will be 1st of October, then the 2nd of October. And now you're gonna witness the first example of AI. It's an Excel prediction model. So once we put two dates together, now Excel is knowing what's going on. So if we select two dates and drag it to the right, we'll fill all our cells with dates up to the 31st of October. Now let's get back to the timings. The timings, the hours, the minutes we're gonna fill with our productive hustle. So first cell will be 6 a.m. Then we proceed to 6:30. So we will have frames of half an hour of 30 minutes. You can choose the frames whichever you like, but for me half hour is the most convenient one. So let's again select these two and drag it up to the midnight, because at midnight we better be sleeping. Now let's create some good visual appearance, so it will be pleasant for us to work in this schedule. I place my selection as the time cell, and now I press Ctrl Shift and arrow to the right to select the far right cell with anything in it, and then I'll press Ctrl Shift arrow down to select the very bottom of anything we have in it. So I press Ctrl Shift right, then I press Ctrl Shift down, and now I have selected the whole table we're gonna work with. The margins are the last cells with anything in it. So what for the formatting? I would like to place center and middle align, so everything will be fitted in the square. And also I will place wrap text, so if we place a huge amount of plants in one cell, it will not be stepping aside of our borders of our cell. So now let's shrink our cells of the dates just a bit, so it will be tidy. I ain't gonna select it one by one. What I need to do is to select the rows. So in order to select the rows, I place my cursor on the name of the row. For me it's D. Pardon, it's columns. So I place my cursor on the top of the column and select all the dates I need to work with. And now I drag just one row, just one column bit, so everything else will be fitted in the same appearance. Now I'll shrink the height of a row a bit, and also I will gonna do the same for the timings. So once again I selected all the rows and I drag it a bit, and now I have more space to fill it in with the tasks and everything else. Now let's work with the coloring. The coloring scheme will be the following. I select the time cell and I place black fill on it. the text will be white. I select bold font for the timing, but instead of pressing the B on the working panel, I press Ctrl B. It saved me 2 seconds, I think. Now I place higher font up to the 12, I think, maybe 14 of Calibri. And now I'm gonna put some color on the timings. I select neutral colors, so the first one would be pale gray, and the second one will be pale gray as well, but for this one I will add more exposure to it. So in order to add more exposure, I go back to the fill, drop down button, more colors, and here see an arrow that changes the exposure of that color. So I drag it up a bit, so it will be really pale gray. Let's see. Now let's add more. So it's gonna be somewhere right here. Okay, I'm fine with that. Now I select these 2 cells. I go to the format painter and I drag it down to the very bottom of the timing we're working with. And now everything is filled with the colors I like. Now let's work with the dates. For the dates, for the 1st October, I'm gonna select the second gold color, and for the 2nd of October, I'm gonna select second green color. As for the cells with the to-do list itself, I'm gonna repeat these colors, but with a bit light tone. This for the 1st October, this for the second one. And I'm gonna repeat these 2 on the below once again. And as the same fashion we did before, I'm gonna change the exposure. So here I drag it up a bit, and here I drag it up again. So here we go. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this 4. I'm gonna press Format Painter once again and drag it down to the very bottom. So I will have 2, let's say, examples for the Excel formatting painter to think when we're gonna drag it up to the very end of our table. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna select these 2. I'm gonna select 2 columns as it is. I'm gonna press Format Painter, and then I'm gonna drag it to the very right and to the very bottom of our column. So I detect that our column, our table ends at row 41 just by its size. So before we enlarged it a bit, and now we see that 41 is the last big cell. So I pressed right here and our coloring is ready. The last thing we're gonna need to do is to make sure that when we drag it to the right, when we drag it to the bottom, our dates and our timing does not disappear. So how we're gonna ensure it? I'm gonna press my selection at the cell on the right of 6 and at the below of 1 of October. So 6 AM and 1 of October as a marking point. And then I'm gonna go to the view and I see freeze panes and I press freeze panes, and now my panes of timings are freezed, and now I can smoothly move throughout my table and see the dates and timings regardless of the place I'm working in. So let's, for example, fill it a bit with the to-do task. We're gonna pretend that we are hustlers and we're very disciplined folks. So I'm gonna place 6 AM will be our wake up. Then we proceed to the breakfast, and then we go straight to the gym. So here we go. Try to replicate this table. It's super easy and convenient. It's minimalistic. It's free, so it's cost free. You don't need to do any updates on it to pay subscription fee. Every time you need, it's with you. so try to fill it in with your tasks. Follow them and break the distraction loop. You might probably fall in really easy in today's super distracted world. God bless, it was a caveman office. See you soon.